Hi guys, Will here from WB Trading, and in today's video I have the pleasure of interviewing one of our clients, Alex Ride. Alex is a fantastic guy. He's a client that's been with us for just above 6 months now, so certainly a long-term client. And his story is one that I think will really inspire people and add huge value too. Because let me ask you this, okay? You, the person watching this video right now, are you taking trades largely using best guesses? When you take a trade, do you kind of hope that it works out, right? Are you maybe trading and falling prey to your emotions, and you're therefore taking small wins yet large losses and kind of self-sabotaging your results? Or maybe you're just straight up lacking any kind of proper tried, tested strategy, right? A true proven process, a set of clear proven rules to follow. If so, the reason that I say that is because Alex's story is one that I'm sure will resonate with you, because that's pretty much where he was before he joined us. And it took him taking a huge loss to realize without that stuff, he just had no chance of trading profitably. But thankfully, since joining us, well, his results really do speak for themselves, as you're about to find out in the interview in just a second. He's now fully confident. He has clear rules to follow. He's roughly 6 months in now, like I just mentioned, and he's already generated at peak equity a roughly 50% account gain, almost on the dot, I believe, as Alex will walk you through himself in a second. And better still, he achieved that without any analysis, without any indicators, without any signal services, none of the stuff that holds most traders back, none of the stuff that just complicates things, overcomplicates things, causes confusion, causes stress. You do not need any of that to trade profitably, as again you're about to find out in just a second. Alex learned our rules, followed them, got the result. It really is that simple. Anyway, let's get into it. We'll dive straight into the interview now. And I really hope that this helps and adds value. Enjoy. Well, I mean, first question from me. Tell me a little bit more about where you were with your trading before you found us.
Well, yeah, it all kind of started when I saw an advert really online, and it was talking about the possibility, it's towards the end of lockdown, and it was about the possibility of making some money because Amazon were doing very well. I thought, oh yeah, there might be something in that. So I did. I joined up with a broker. Looked into a few, but joined up this particular one where the advert came from, and did put a little bit on Amazon. But I had this unfortunate thing where I had some advice from someone that wasn't very good. They took me out of the Amazon trade and put me into a different trade, and it completely bottomed out. It went into a margin call, which I didn't even know what I was at that point. And I've come to realize that it was incredibly bad advice. There was no risk management at all. The person knew that I was a brand new trader who needed a lot more support than you'd obviously given. And yeah, I lost a lot of money in one go. It was an absolute shocker. So that was really my first experience of trading. I then went back to Amazon with a bit of money I had left and made up about a third of it, because the Amazon thing actually was quite good at that time. And then I thought, and yeah, then the broker said that they weren't going to allow me to trade anymore because of where I live. They obviously have to change in legislation or something. And that was that really. I thought, oh right, okay. that didn't really go very well. But I could see that there was, I was quite interested in trading, even though I'd suffered this horrible, unexpected loss. It really sort of gave me some clarity about risk management and how badly things can go wrong if you don't know what you're doing. But it didn't put me off. So I spent the next year or so just researching trading in my spare time. A lot of that was on YouTube. And I think that must have been where I found out about WB trading. There's a lot of information. I looked at Bitcoin and various other companies that offer trading education, and it was actually between W Trading and another company who I also contacted, who actually gave me a free psychological profile about what sort of trader I am. And I came back as conservative, I think, which means basically seriously risk averse. And then I thought about, I think I'd already had a chat with Alex at that point, and we had a good conversation. So I thought about that, and I thought about your emphasis on risk management, your emphasis on having an edge over the markets, and I thought, yeah, I think I'm going to go for it. So I got back in touch and joined up. That's this medium long version of it, I guess.
Got it. And if you don't mind me asking, Alex, how much was that large loss that you took, that you mentioned?
Oh, it was horrible. It was £1,200 and one more. Yeah, there was no risk management at all. It was on the Turkish economy, and basically it was, the premise was that Turkey had to sell a lot of gold recently, and everything was going right down quickly. It was really trading on old news, and by the time I was informed, oh, do this will be a good trade for you, it shot back up, because as we know, that the markets move up and down a lot. So I put a trade, a sell trade on, and it shot up. I had no risk management. I think I put it on at 8 o'clock. No, I was saying at 6 o'clock in the evening, and I looked at it at 10 o'clock the next morning, and it was rocketing downwards. So, and I was actually trapped. I was like a rabbit in the headlights. I didn't know what to do. And when I did eventually get back in touch with the chap who put me onto this, his advice was to put another £1,000 on it. I mean, it was shocking. When I think about it, it's shocking. It really is shocking what happened there. So I made back about £400 on that, from sticking with my guns and going with the Amazon idea. So yeah, it was. I'm still stinging from it, actually, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
but
nice.
Also, it's informing. I learned a lot. I learned a lot, and the idea of having an edge over the markets and doing things a bit more slowly really fits well with me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, sometimes I think you need to learn the hard way to really be forced to go and get things right. I mean, it's a common thing for a lot of traders to have that big loss eventually, and then it makes you think, right, hold on for a second, I need to do something about this. I need to learn to do this properly, kind of thing. But you said something interesting there. You said that you are very, very, very risk averse, right? And I can certainly relate to that. I'm certainly similar. But the fact that you actually went for it and joined us as a client, a lot of people are really skeptical these days, really wary. Is it going to work for me? That kind of thing, which, I have to say I completely respect. But my question for you is, what actually prompted you to go for it and join us as a client? What kind of tipped you over the edge and made you thought, yeah, let me do this?
Good question. I think partly when I spoke to Alex in our first conversation, I think I was in a bit of a grumpy mood, actually. But he dealt with me really well. He was really frank, took me as he found me, and just gave me some information that was really useful that I hadn't been aware of. About trading funded accounts and this kind of thing, and what the options might be, because I don't have a lot of capital, and it was a really frank discussion, which I really appreciated, and it stayed with me. So partly that, but something about WP Trading's approach to talking about the work you do is very it's just very frank and honest. That's how it comes across. It's not kind of promising Ferraris and highfalutin kind of approach, which there is quite a lot of, I think, on the internet. The sort of, it feels a bit egocentric. Some of the things I've seen, and that's not the impression I get. The impression I get is that you're here to really support people into becoming the best traders that they can be. So I really appreciated the sort of a support aspect, and the idea of sort of becoming a part of a bit of a community, I think, of traders, and also the strategies. Really, really interesting. You know, these back-tested strategies with Edge. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Something honest and so something that felt like it was going to get me there, I guess. Not kind of hype.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, no, no Ferraris, no mansions, no Rolexes, just kind of statistical proof, I guess, is the best way to put it, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm not at all a mathematical person, so it's not like I'm in love with numbers. But there's something about, yes, like say statistical proof. Not gambling, because people say that when I say, "Oh, I'm interested in forex trading," they just tell me it's gambling. They tell me I'm a capitalist or I'm a gambler. So I don't know that I'm really either. I'm just working from my bedroom, and I think it's much more about probabilities. Really, I think I'm working with probabilities, and I wouldn't do it any other way, particularly after my experience of terrible loss. You know, there is no other way that I can see. It's either work with probabilities or wipe your account out, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with that. Well, let me ask you this, Alex. How have things changed since you joined us?
In terms of profit and loss, it's gone up and down. I mean, it went up by 50% just a few weeks ago. It was at 1,500. I haven't looked at today's trade yet. See where that goes on the DAX. But certainly I'm up. You know, I've had some losses, but my wins have been bigger. And yeah, it's going in the direction it should be, I think.
Brilliant, brilliant. Good to hear. And any feedback on support so far? Have you had a coaching session yet? Have you spoken to your success manager yet? Any of that stuff?
I haven't done any of that yet. I've been going to the group calls and you know, typing things into Tom, and he's been answering various questions I've had. I will be. I was going to leave it until I'd worked through all 4 strategies and had a little bit of knowledge of them before having a one-to-one call. Just because I wanted to just get a as wider overview as possible. I think because I'll probably have more questions when I've done the other 2 strategies. But yeah, I found it really, really useful, and I really like the sort of continuity. You know, every Friday and every Saturday morning at a certain time, if you've got a question, there's somewhere to take it, and that feels really, really useful. So yeah, it's been positive. Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant.
I mean, I don't go to every call, and I quite like the fact that I don't need to go to every call as well, because sometimes, you know, I can't make it. I've got to cook tea or something instead. But life is always there in the background, you know. Yeah. But yeah, it is useful to know that facility is there, you know. And Tom's great. He's really, really knowledgeable.
Yeah, Tom's a star. Absolutely love working with Tom. Well, I mean,
I think I've asked him some pretty hard questions as well. So.
Yeah, good to hear. Good to hear. Well, I mean, you said something that stood out to me there. You know, life is always there in the background, right? And obviously, I know how busy you are with a couple of things that you're working on in the background in your general life, career, and so on and so forth. So let me ask you this, because one question that we get a lot is, can I trade the strategies around my day job, right? And obviously, you do that, absolutely. So could you kind of expand on that? You know, how many hours you spend trading per day, when you trade the strategies, that kind of thing, to kind of paint the picture?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've followed your lead really, because you do talk about that in the program. I mean, the DAX strategy is it's a 7 in the morning kind of routine really. So it's I've been getting into that, and I set an alarm at a certain time, make sure I'm at the computer at kind of 10 to 7, and I'm just, you know, working out what I've got to work out. And I give myself between kind of 10 to 7 and 7:30ish to to do that bit of work around the price aversion strategy. And if nothing happens by then that's just the way it is. And I don't get to place a trade on that strategy that day. But more often than not, I do. It's quite unusual that I wouldn't. And then the other one is with the other strategy, the bias bar strategy. Like I say, I tend to do it at 8 o'clock in the evening. I only worked this out quite recently, and I was thinking, how am I going to make this work, and how am I going to know when if I'm getting the information I need? And it seemed like that time of day was a good time of day to work with that strategy. Between 8 and 9 usually. Maybe not usually the whole hour. Depends how many trades I decide to put on. Maybe I can do one trade in 20 minutes. If I do 2 or 3, it'll take up more of the hour. But usually between 8 and 9 with that one. The other two that I haven't started working with yet. Part of the challenge will be to think, right, when is the best time to work with these trades, and I'm imagining on any trades that are connected to putting on an order, the later part of the day would be better for that. I've given that a lot of thought, actually, and it's been part of the reason I'm kind of taking it slow and working on a demo account. It feels really important to have the day kind of measured around the possibilities for if that makes sense. So it's not chaotic. So it stays, in a way, the timing stays mechanical as well as the trading approach. So that's kind of the way I'm doing it. It's still a work in progress, but I think the 7 in the morning and the 8 in the evening thing, just for short periods, seems to work quite effectively.
Brilliant. That's good to hear. Well, yeah, it sounds like the consistency's there as well now. Consistent routine, consistent process, and consistent results as well.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's not perfect, but it is getting there. And I've even written myself up a kind of plan, the strategies, the time I'm going to do them, and kind of what's it, affirmations. I will do this at 8 in the evening. I will. I will logging my work has taken a bit of a downturn recently because of ill health, but that's another challenge, when to fill in all the trades and into Excel and do that part of it as well, because that can be a bit arduous if it gets on top of me. So again, I'm working on it. When's a good time to do that? How to make it not too time consuming, etc.
Got it. Brilliant. Good to hear. Well, let me ask you this, Alex. What would you say to someone who's maybe seen what we offer? So they might have seen an ad, read the website, even had a call with us, for example, and they're thinking of working with us, but they're on the fence for whatever reason. As a client who's obviously come into the program, got the result, and knows, that we're genuine, that it works, what would you say to those people?
That's an interesting one. What would I say? I mean, to some extent, I think people have to follow their kind of gut instinct about things, because the problem, I think, is that there's so much information. Which way do you decide to go with it? Just trying to think. From my perspective, it was I keyed into the genuineness of what you're offering. Having had a look at lots of people kind of going, hey, do this, you're 98 point whatever win rate, and there's lots of highfalutin claims, and they just don't seem very likely to me. Or you can have 10 wins and a 1 terrible loss and it all gets wiped out. So the idea of the edge and the mechanical trading, make a trade and you can walk away from it, because even if that trade doesn't work out, you've got edge, and over a period of time you will come out on top. I mean, that's the fundamental of WB trading, as I understand it. That's what you kind of do, and the strategies are back tested, and as far as I'm aware, you all trade your own strategies, so that's kind of important to hold in mind as well. You're working with what you're offering, and I think it's really that really comes across to me. with WB trading over a lot of other companies that I looked at. And it's also not technical. It's not lots about support and resistance and all of that stuff that sounds really technical, but it's actually a little bit arbitrary. I spent ages looking at support and resistance and just felt really confused by it because really it's not as objective as it sounds. And I find the strategies you've given are much more objective than some of these ideas about support and resistance and things that are widely talked about. That was really helpful, and just being able to keep an eye on a couple of strategies and how they work has already given me a massive insight into sort of how the market works and a much better feel for it. So yeah, there's a few things anyway.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, those are the key things, really. I mean, like you just said, Alex, having the proof there, having the data there, and getting rid of all the guessing, the gambling, the indicators, the support resistance, technical analysis, all of that stuff. And it leads pretty well into the next thing that I was going to ask you, which is, well, imagine that you'd never found us. I mean, where do you think you'd be if you carried on just kind of doing what you were doing?
I don't think I would have. I think I'd still just be looking at all the different options and sort of wondering what to do. Yeah, I'm not sure that I would have. I'm not sure I'd have done anything more than carry on researching until I found something that offered what you're offering, really. I haven't seen anyone else who offers what you're offering, so it would be a bit of a time-consuming way of trying to get into trading. So I think I'd be stuck. I think, to be perfectly honest, because although I did have a call with another company, I don't know. I didn't quite resonate with what was on offer. So yeah, I guess that's what would have happened. I'd still be looking at YouTube videos and trying to work out how to get into this without just losing everything.
Yeah, got it. Well, I mean, from what you said, it sounds like your confidence is up there now, processes in place, the results coming. It sounds like you're pretty happy and settled.
Get in there for sure. I mean, like I said, there's 2 more strategies to learn, so that's quite exciting. Like I said, I'm not rushing it, and also I think one of the things that you say in the course is start off on a demo account. The markets aren't going anywhere. Just start off on a demo account and get used to it or get a feel for it. And that was really good advice. And I'm sticking with that because when you start learning these strategies, it is quite easy to make a mistake or just get something slightly out, and then you have chance on a demo account. You have a chance to reflect on that and think, right, what did I do? What did I do wrong there? So yeah, that was very good advice, and I'm going to stick with it for a while until I feel the strategies are I've got the hang of them, really, and they become a bit like muscle memory or something. Then at some point in the next 6 months or so, I'll probably start trading with my own money. But it is quite a lot for me about confidence, I think, because I had this horrible experience of a huge loss. That stayed with me, so I'm definitely sort of building towards trading on a properly funded account.
Brilliant. Yeah, good to hear. Yeah, you're completely right with that. I think starting on demo is always the best thing to do, to just see the strategies work, gain the confidence, gain the consistency, and then just move over to live. I mean, it only makes sense, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, confidence, consistency, definitely. Those 2 words are really important, I think, to this process. And I think anyone who's thinking about getting into it, it is a process. It's something that needs to take a bit of time and thought, consideration, and not just be jumped into. So trading on a demo account is a really good way of developing skills, I think, and understanding.
Yeah, definitely. Well, just to throw a curveball question at you, Alex, what kind of traders do you think will be best fit to kind of working with us?
Oh, I'm not sure. What sort of traders would be best fit to work with you? I think certainly people who are beginners. I mean, because you offer so much support. That's where I'm coming from. So it's harder for me to say about more experienced traders, but I imagine the mechanical rules are useful to anybody. It's the kind of win-win approach, really, which who wouldn't want that? So yeah, certainly people working from their bedroom and just thinking that this is interesting. How can I make some income in a slightly different way? There's that feeling of WB trading will offer. Well, I think you understand that. I get a sense that where people start in their trading journey hasn't been forgotten. In fact, it's kind of been embraced in your philosophy, as I understand it, which is why you have the support calls and everything. So yeah, I think pretty much anyone who's interested in joining a trading community that's supportive with some really interesting strategies that have edge and don't want to do hours and hours of kind of a technical analysis because that can really slow things down.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Alex, look, I appreciate you jumping on the call today. I appreciate you letting me throw all those questions at you. And yeah, really good to be working with you. I'm happy to hear that you've been getting the result. You're settled in. You're happy with everything. And yeah, here's to the next 5 years, 10 years plus.
Yeah. What's it? The exponential function, isn't it? Of just building and building and building until you see rewards. I hold that in mind. I think that came from the course as well. Just think about that. So yeah. Certainly, it's a long-term thing, isn't it? It's not just it's not a short-term thing.